So at this point, I'm pretty sure it's no surprise to anybody that I love fantasy. It's my favorite genre. I tend to read more fantasy books than I do any other genre in the year. Although my year in books video confirmed that contemporary is fast catching up. But so far, I love fantasy books. And I think that one thing that contributes to my love for fantasy books are these creatures, are fantasy creatures that I meet in books that I always go out of my way to search for, that I absolutely love. And I figured that I was going to share that with you in today's video. So here are 10 fantasy creatures that I love to read about in books. And number one on that list has to be the Fae. I don't think anybody would be surprised at this point. I love Fae stories. It's the reason why I love Akuta series by Sarah J. Maas, the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. It's the reason why I love Ollie Black's Folk of the Air series. It's the reason why I really love Margaret Rogerson's A Sorcery of Thorns. It's also the reason why I intend to get Julie Kagawa's Iron Fae series. I love Fae stories. I find them fascinating. I love just how capricious they are. I love how their fascination with humanity. I love their customs. I love the lore that has been built about the Fae for years, for decades even. So definitely the number one fantasy creature for me has to be the Fae. If you tell me, for example, that a book has Fae in it, you know I am not most likely, I am definitely going to pick it up. Even if it is that I hate the book, I will still give it more than a 1-star rating just because it's contributing to my love for Fae, giving me more Fae stories. I definitely need more Fae stories in my life. So definitely the number one fantasy creature / being that I love to encounter in books are the Fae. And then second on that list, dragons. I have been fascinated with dragons ever since I saw Mulan as a child. I love the lore. I love the fact that in certain cultures they bring good omen, in certain cultures they bring bad omen, in certain cultures they proclaim the arrival of a king, in certain cultures they proclaim the death of a king. So I love dragons. I love their mythos. I love how they are these temperamental beings of fire but who have this fascination for hoarding treasure and collecting things. Of course, I know that that is one dragon lore. It does not apply to all dragons, but I've always found dragons fascinating. I love the fact that they can breathe fire. I love the fact that they can be very vicious. I love the fact that they are very powerful. Like if you have a dragon on your side in a fight, in a war, you're definitely going to win. So yeah, kind of the reason why the last scene in Game of Thrones, I'm like, Drogon, like seriously, you just burned down the chair, not the person that killed your mother. Like right there, it's right there. But anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. But definitely dragons are my second favorite supernatural creatures. My third favorite supernatural creatures are kitsunes. I love shapeshifters. I especially love kitsunes. I think my love for them was probably birthed in Naruto because I was a big Naruto fan like 10-12 years ago, like a huge, not 10-12 years ago, like I'm like, oh, that was when I stopped being a Naruto fan. No, I discovered Naruto about 10-12-13 years ago, and I was a big big Kitsune fan. I would always be a Kyuubi fan, like big time. But yes, I love kitsunes. I love the fact that they are tricksters. I love the fact that they have so much power, they have so much magic, and they can sometimes lead you astray. I find them very fascinating. I love discovering them in books. It's the reason why I picked up Julie Kagawa's Shadow of the Fox series, because there's a kitsune in there. Just tell me that there's a kitsune in a book and I'll most likely pick it up. It's also something that applies for me across different cultures. So for example, the Korean gumihos, which is basically kind of like the Japanese kitsunes. I love gumihos. Is the reason why I picked up Wicked Fox by Kat Cho. I find fox trickster spirits they are very silly, they are very playful, they can be very powerful, and also they can be very murderous in the blink of an eye. I think I have a fascination for creatures that can just switch immediately, creatures that within them exists a paradox of, you know, humanity, the fact that nobody is all one thing. Sometimes we flip out, we change behaviors. I find that fascinating. So of course I carry that over into my love for fantasy and fantastical creatures. So definitely number 3 on my list is kitsune. And then there's death. Yes, you heard that right, death. I've always been fascinated by death. I attribute it to the first time of me reading Neil Gaiman's Sandman comics. Death of the Endless is my favorite character. One of my favorite characters across all of literature. I love her. I love her stance. I love how exactly she's taught me how to live, being death, and how to appreciate life and all its many complexities and all its many ups and downs through death. And the first time I discovered that book, it gave me a newer understanding of death and what it entails, and how exactly you live your best life when you're aware of death, when you know that eventually you're going to welcome death as an old friend. So I love death. I love death in books. Like I said, I loved her first appearance in Neil Gaiman's Sandman series. I love the death we got in Terry Pratchett's Discworld series. So I'm always been fascinated. So if you tell me, for example, that there's a book that legitimately that has a character that has the character of death in it, I most likely will get it, and I'm definitely still looking for more. So if you have any recommendation of books that feature death as a character, let me know. I'm definitely going to get The Book Thief by Marcus Suzak, because I heard that there's also a character of death in that book, and you all know how fascinated I am by death. So definitely death is the fourth fantastical supernatural creature on that list. And then there's Gorgons. Yes, those three sisters with snakes for hair who have the ability to turn anybody who looks into their eyes into stone. I've always been fascinated. I think I blame it on, one, of course, my love for mythology, because I don't think anybody on this channel at this point will be surprised that I love mythology so much. But I love the Gorgons. I love the mythos. I know I was really, really offended. It was even one of the reasons why I started disliking Athena as a goddess, just because of exactly Ovid's retelling of exactly how it is that Medusa became a Gorgon. But yes, I love Gorgons. I love that power. Maybe it's also because I think that Gorgons are an allegorical reference of a feminist statement. So women who have the power and ability to kill people that will look at them, especially when it is that they do not want to be looked at. Women whose blood can be poison, even though from it also is birthed a creature of beauty like Pegasus. So I definitely find Gorgons fascinating. That's number 5 fantastical supernatural creature on that list that I love to see in a book. And then there are mermaids. Yes, mermaids and their sisters Sirens. This law of really beautiful women who have the power to drag sailors down to the depths of the sea. I've always found that very fascinating. I think it's very cool. I think that I love the different iterations of mermaids that we've gotten across literature. You've gotten the happy ones, you know, very nice and sweet, like we got in The Little Mermaid, and then you've gotten the brutal killing ones who look horrible and who have like claws for nails and who would tear you apart, like we got in Alexander Christie's To Kill a Kingdom and Mara Grant's Into the Drowning Deep. So yeah, I find mermaids fascinating. I think it's also because as a child I grew up on legends and myth of the Mami Water Spirit. Yes, unfortunately, for those of you that really think that mermaids are Western constructs, no. So I've always found the Mami Water stories, beautiful women, glamorous, seductive, who can always pull you into the depths of the ocean and take you over to the water kingdom, who are absolutely completely irresistible. I think it's just that law of beauty, and exactly how it is that we are so attracted to beauty that will follow beauty to our death. That's, I think, what makes mermaids for me very fascinating creatures. So yeah, definitely mermaids. And then there's the Puca. Yes, the Celtic Puca. How do I put it? I've already established in this video that I love the theme of duality, especially in literature, especially in life. And then you have the Puca, who are both outbringers of good and outbringers of evil, and who are also tricksters, and they can either give you good fortune or ill will. And I just always find that fascinating, because in this one being is the capacity for extreme good and also very vile evil. And I love that. I love that. You already established that I also like tricksters, so it works for me. And also because I think it's also rooted in the fact that of the Yoruba gods and members of the Yoruba pantheon, Ishu is my favorite god, even though based on Western religion, Ishu has been converted into Satan, kind of like the way in which we turned Hades into the devil when he's not, you know. But anyway, Ishu is the god of crossroads, is also the harbinger of good and evil, and is also the intermediary between the land of the dead and the land of the living, and so he plays both roles. So I've always been fascinated by that duality when it comes to mythology and religion, and to see it reflected in the Celtic Puca just makes me very happy. So, and unfortunately I have not come across too many Puca stories, and I need them in my life, so that is yet again a recommendation I would really appreciate. So if you know of any Pucas in stories, please drop them down in the comments below so that I can check them out, check out the books, because I like Pucas. I like Pucas. And then there's the phoenix. I guess it's just something about the mythology of a bird that dies only to be reborn again. So, like, it's ageless, it's immortal, but it knows the pain of dying, and it knows the joy and satisfaction of living a full long life, and it also knows the redemption of being born anew. And I just find the fact that a phoenix legitimately goes through those 3 stages and has the chance to repeat it over and over and over through mythology is fascinating. Of course, my love for phoenixes was born, like everybody else, I guess, in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The minute I saw Fawkes, I lost my head. I was like, oh my god, that is, yes, please. So in a way, yeah, I love phoenixes. I love seeing them in books. I love seeing them in stories. I don't think they get enough representation. It's the reason why I got Crown of Feathers by Nikki Paul Pareto, so that I need more phoenixes in my life. I definitely need more phoenixes in my life. Another fantastical creature / being that I really love to see in books has to be the hellhounds, and I don't think we get them enough. Like, I find hellhounds fascinating. Great beasts of hell that are terrifying and totally and completely scary and can rip a man to shreds, but are just basically big hell babies and big hell doggies. Like, imagine if it is that we got a book that told us about a hellhound, like a baby hellhound, and how they grew up. I would love that. It's the reason why I really loved Good Omens. Like, just imagine there is this hellhound that is terrifying, that is sent to be with the Antichrist, and Adam calls him dog, and then automatically his entire body changes, his entire temperament changes, and he adapts himself to fit his master. Like, that is a very interesting law, and I want more laws like that. I find hellhounds fascinating, and I just think it's a very big disservice that we don't get enough hellhounds representation in books. Like, I want more hellhounds representation, please. Thank you. Like, give me more hellhounds. I can't believe I just said that. And finally, the last supernatural fantastical creature I like to read and meet in books and across other entertainment, of course, has to be the Banshee. Just like with the Gorgons, I think the Banshees are also allegorical feminist statements, because there is nothing like a woman with a voice to break and tear and destroy, especially when you consider the fact that most women are muzzled by patriarchal society. And then you have this mythological being that when she screams, your ears bleed, your eyes bleed, your heart stops, glass shatters. That is the voice, that is the power of a voice. And I just love seeing that in the representation of a Banshee. And look at me, happy and grinning, because I really do love Banshees. Oh my god, you have no idea how much I love Banshees. I love them. I love seeing them in books, I love seeing them in movies, I love seeing them in shows. I'm just like, every time they show up, I'm always screaming. I'm like, scream, let it all out and scream. So yeah, definitely Banshees. It's a combination of my love for mythology and also my love of feminism finding its way into literature. But yeah, those are 10 supernatural / fantastical creatures / beings that I love to see in books and other forms of entertainment. Let me know what some of your favorite fantastical creatures are. Drop them down in the comments down below. If you like this video, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Click on that like button, share it please, so that other people can also see these fantastical creatures and they can share with me what fantastical creatures are their favorites. Check out my other videos, subscribe if you want to, and if you do subscribe, please click on that notification bell so you can know every time I put up a new video. I make new videos every Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'll see you soon. Until then, stay passionate, love books, love yourself. Bye.